My name is Leticia, and I'm a PhD candidate in the Department of Psychology. I'm looking at social inclusion of non-traditional and international students in higher education, in universities, and what the strategies the universities use to create a climate of inclusion are. So I'm looking at policies, I'm looking at how social inclusion is conceptualized in the global south and the global north. And I'm comparing two universities, one in Ireland and one in Brazil, so that we can map what these strategies are and how social inclusion is perceived and applied. I'm looking at how students are welcomed, how they have access, what are the programs, and what they can benefit from strategies in terms of belonging and in terms of access, in terms of having an environment that is welcoming for all. So actually I was working as a psychologist and at the university in Brazil. And my university is very interesting, it's very unique because it's focused on the integration of Latin America. So half of the seats are for international students. So I was working with a very diverse and inclusive environment where we welcome all these diverse students. And so I was interested in how universities did it in other parts of the world as well. And therefore I thought a PhD could be interesting to actually know more about the realities in other places and how they compare to my own university. Yeah, so I'm hoping that my PhD can help to create a framework where universities can understand what are good practices and what are barriers that they face when trying to create a climate of inclusion. Because ideally universities usually want to create a climate of inclusion, but not necessarily they are successful in doing their practices. So I want to look at how we can actually measure some of this, assess a bit of these programs and how this actually happen in the universities. So by the end of the PhD, I hope that I have a model that universities can look at, explore, and get inspiration from so that they can create more of this place. It's really looking at creating something practical, something that they can apply. So I'm still thinking about it, and I really like the practice. I like to be a psychologist. I was doing so much of the counseling and clinical psychology work, and I learned so much about social psychology as well. And now with the PhD, what happens is that it brings me to a new level where I can also look at policy level, where I can look at the macro level, how universities engage with topics that are important from the psychological point of view. So I'm expecting to use this knowledge and help me to advance in my career so that I can still be a psychologist, but maybe also look at the macro level. Not necessarily be an academic, but working with universities or organizations to create a more inclusive environment. Yeah, I'd say it's such an interesting journey and there's so much to be learned. So I'd say start with your passion. What is it that you like? What is it that you are curious about? Start there and you can explore possibilities because there are so many ways of understanding the reality that you are passionate about. And the PhD definitely helps to do that. And yeah, take one step at a time. I think the PhD is every now and then is very overwhelming because we don't necessarily know exactly where we are going, and that's like scary. So if you are kind to yourself and if you allow the reflection to happen and Also ask for help, so you are never alone. Sometimes it feels lonely, but you can always reach out to people, either your supervisors or your peers, or all the resources that your university offers to you. So don't be lonely in this journey, and be kind to yourself, and you'll get there.